Well, if you've been wondering about the 2024 presidential election, let me give you some more fodder that's probably going to mess your head up a little bit, but let's see what happens. There's a guy by the name of Allan Litchman, and he is a historian at the American University, kind of a geek, okay? But he has predicted the presidential winner in the election since 1984. Now, that obviously goes back a long way, but he's hit it virtually every single time except one. And that was in 2000 when he said Al Gore would beat George W. Bush. Well, he did in the votes, but not in the Electoral College. So you give me either way. But anyway, he's saying there's 13 things that will determine if someone's reelected. And he went down the list for Joe Biden, and Joe Biden has 7 of those things. And finally, he says, well, he could be reelected based on those 7 items. Things like incumbency and not having a recession and a bunch of other things like that. And he said, but if Biden steps down, they're going to lose 2 of those things. And if you get six falses, if they say, you're not going to win. Well, what Litchman is saying is if Joe steps down right now and hands the keys to the White House to Kamala Harris, that they may be able to resurrect things and Harris could beat Trump in the November election. Well, that's what Allan Litchman says. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party and many people in the party don't agree. And if you ask the pollsters around the United States, and I mean there's a ton of them, they keep saying, well, Trump's ahead here, Trump's ahead there. And really what we're dealing with are probably 8 or 9 total states that are swing states, they call them. And in those states, those are where the electoral votes will come from, ultimately to seal the deal with whoever gets to be president. Well, according to the pollsters, a lot of those swing states are moving in Trump's direction. And because of that, the Democrats are in a panic. Now, Joe Biden, as we know, is suffering some sort of mental, he's having a tough time mentally. Maybe the edge of dementia, who knows, but if you go back to 1984 when Reagan was reelected, there was rumors going around that he was suffering pre-dementia himself. They didn't talk about it, but truth of the matter, he probably was. And by the time he got out of the office at the end of 89, yes, he was suffering from dementia, and ultimately it cost him his life. And his son will tell you that in his book, if you've read the book or anything like that. But Joe is definitely on the decline. And now that George Clooney published an opinion piece in the New York Times saying, hey, he's got to be out. He's losing it. He's turning into a shadow of his former self. Well, the trouble is the Democrats are going, what do I say? None of them want to say anything unless their leaders say, okay, time to talk. Everybody's scared of retaliation. And then there's talk about, well, let's utilize the 25th Amendment. And it does exist. But here's the issue with that. The vice president can meet with the cabinet and get a majority of the cabinet to agree that the president is incapacitated. Now, if you're a cabinet member and things don't work out, you're fired. And how's that going to be for the vice president? If that doesn't work out, could she be fired? Well, who's to say? So that's the concern, because the 25th Amendment must come from the vice president to the cabinet vice president, go to the Congress and say, hey, president's not fit. That's how it works. Congress can't do it by themselves. Sorry, it ain't going to happen that way. So now we have a problem going on. What are they going to do? Nobody wants to say, well, Biden's out, and they really don't know. And they're afraid that every time Biden shows up on the scene, he's going to say something stupid or freeze up or whatever happens and make them look even worse. So who are they going to put in? Well, the money that Biden has in the account, about $200 million, would go to his vice president. That's the only place it could go. Plus, Biden has almost 4,000 election ballots, if you will. People in various states who voted for Biden, they still have rights. And he's got enough to get himself coronated as the nominee. And if they try to go against that, there's going to be lawsuits filed, I guarantee you. Various states have rules, and the rules say this is what you got to do. So here's where it's getting bad. The left side doesn't know what the right side's doing. You got Allan Litchman saying, hey, I predicted what's going on in the presidential elections. And at this moment, nobody really knows how this is going to end up. Now, the Republicans got their convention coming up. They're going to start that. And, of course, Trump has got to name a vice president. Right now, nobody knows who that's going to be. And heck, I can only guess. But the problem is the Democrats, they're going to say, hey, if Joe can't serve, he's going to lose. Got to get him out of there. But he didn't going to go because his wife, the queen, you understand, she's such a queen that she wants to have her own walk-in music. Fanfare for the First Lady, it's called. She gets her own music when she walks onto the stage. That's how much she likes being the First Lady. She likes being queen. So the battle continues, and no one knows exactly how it's going to end up, where it's going to end up, and frankly, who's going to win the election. Is it going to be a mess? Yes, it's going to be a mess. And is it going to turn out to be one side or the other? Of course. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. Trouble is, right now, the guess is, well, who knows? Let's see what happens. But now you've got a little skinny on what's going on and what can't happen and what will happen. And who knows how it's going to work itself out. Only time will tell. That's all I've got for you for now. See ya.